friends, so this video's been in the making for quite a while. I've had a lot of people asking me about this. I just realized that a lot of you don't know what happened with Maya to make her the way that she is. A lot of you know that she had some brain damage, but you don't necessarily know what caused that. And forgive me, you'll have to listen to me over Maya watching Moana right now. But I wanted to let you know kind of what happened and why Maya is the way she is and why we have to fight so hard to get her the cares that she needs. So her story started on her birthday, of course, July 17th, or 19th, sorry, 2017. July 19th, 2017, Maya was born. She was born at home, just like her sister before her. Labor was perfect with her. Pushing was perfect with her. There was no signs of anything going wrong at all. However, when she came out, she was unable to breathe on her own. We didn't know why at that time. We just knew that she was struggling. Midwife immediately did everything that she was supposed to do. She did suctioning. She did neonatal resuscitation. She did oxygen. Called 911, of course. Left the cord intact, which is credited for actually saving Maya's life. Because without that umbilical cord, the healing stem cells and the blood that she would have needed would not have made it to her, and she more than likely would not have survived at all. She was taken from our house at, I believe, 14 minutes of age. I can remember a little bit of it. I don't remember all of it because it was very traumatic. But I remember the police officer coming in and being shocked that she was still attached. He thought that she was a newborn baby that had, come home from the hospital and just stopped breathing. So he was very shocked to see that she was newborn and still attached to me and whatnot. Ambulance showed up, and I remember them telling our midwife to do what she needed to do and then pass Maya off. And I know that she cut the umbilical cord and passed Maya up to the paramedic, and I don't remember ever seeing any faces. To this day, I cannot look at people's shoes because all I can remember is a pair of black shoes running from my house with my child. At that point, I broke down screaming. I don't know what happened from there. I know somehow I made it back into my bedroom, but I don't know what happened. James, my husband, went with Maya to the hospital. He was repeatedly calling us, texting us, letting us know what was going on. He said, I believe the first time that they took her blood gas levels the levels were so low that they were what was considered incompatible with life. They did not believe she was going to make it. Somewhere around that time, though, she had some spontaneous breathing. It was not effective enough to be able to let her breathe on her own, but she did have that will, that will to fight. And so I believe that was around 18 minutes of age. They intubated her because she wasn't able to breathe on her own completely. She was intubated at 24 minutes. So technically her body went 24 minutes without oxygen. And as you can imagine, that's devastating to the brain and to the other body systems. But she went, 24 minutes. That is where the majority of her birth injuries stem from, is from that brain injury. It's called hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy, or HIE. And in her case, it affected the white matter of her brain, which is kind of like the connections in your body telling, your muscles that they're feeling this way or that they need to be doing this or that. So basically her cognitive abilities are there, but she doesn't have the connections to get necessarily the feelings or the thoughts from her brain to the rest of her body. And that's where a lot of her struggle comes from. The doctors 5 minutes later took another blood gas level, and it had actually raised to zero.1 above the threshold for being transferred. So she was able to be transferred to the NICU in Fargo. It was there that we learned the cause of why her lungs failed at birth, and it was related to a Group B strep infection. Group B strep is a natural and common bacteria that is in the vaginal and anal tracts of women. It is typically harmless to the women. Unfortunately, if a baby contracts it and it colonizes within that baby and causes infection, it can be deadly. I actually know of a woman whose baby did pass away from Group B strep infection. It is often treated in women in labor with antibiotics, but we knew the scientific evidence behind it, and we chose not to do testing for it because there are so many false positives. It can change within your body from day to day, week to week. So I could have tested positive one week and negative the next week. So the studies out there just aren't necessarily in favor of testing for it. It is with antibiotics in labor. It is a 1 in 4,000 chance that your baby will still develop Group B strep. Without antibiotics in labor, it is a 1 in 200 chance, which is about 0.5%. So Maya's entire case was she was a 0.5% chance that this would happen. Just happened to be that 0.5%, which was devastating, but we've made it through. Anyway, in the NICU, Maya was on a ventilator. Actually, she was on an oscillator, which is like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was a much stronger ventilator, doing all of her breathing for her. She was on nitric oxide. She was on nitric oxide to help stabilize the pressure between her lungs and her heart. She was on, I believe, 11 different medications. She was on what they called a cooling mat, because the cooling mat cools the entire body to cool the brain as well, so that the rest of the organs are not damaged, and it can hopefully slow any brain damage. I'm going to pause this for a minute. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, Maya was on 11 different medications. She was on that cooling mat for 3 days, and then after that 3 days, she was slowly rewarmed. And as she was rewarming, she did experience 2 seizures. So she was loaded with phenobarbital. The phenobarbital did stop the seizures. She had other movements that were suspected to be seizures, but nothing. She had several EEGs, and none of them ever showed a pattern. So she was not having seizures after that, after the phenobarbital. She was taken for an MRI at 5 days old, which at that time showed no brain damage. The neonatal neurologist was shocked about that, but he did maintain that sometimes it just doesn't show up on such a small brain. It doesn't show up on the MRI. She had another MRI at, I think, roughly 2 weeks old, maybe. That one showed some possible flares, but they still weren't certain. They said it just would be a wait and see what her body does. She was off of the ventilator by 2.5 weeks and on CPAP. She had no gag reflex, no suck reflex, no swallow reflex. And so we had to make the decision to do a G-tube with her so that she could eat properly, get the nutrition her body needed. So all of her nutrition to this day is through the G-tube. She still is working on those oral skills. And we don't know, honestly, if she will ever eat by mouth. We hope she will. but we don't know, and whatever God chooses is fine with us. We'll just keep working with her as we have to. Maya is nonverbal. She is working with American Sign Language, and she has a speech device that she uses to talk. She is unable to walk on her own. She has cerebral palsy. Specifically, it's mixed spastic hypotonic quadriparesis. So that means that it's a mixture of various types of cerebral palsy. In her case, some of her muscles are very rigid, others are very lax, and then still others are spastic. So you might see Maya often doing a movement like this, and that's the spasticity in her joints and her muscles. You might other times, especially when she's sleeping, see her just go limp like a rag doll, and that is the hypotonia. There's another thing called hypertonia, which is those rigid, tense muscles where you can try to bend her elbows, and it takes a lot of your own strength to bend them. It does not mean that she doesn't have muscle strength. It just means that the tone is off. So you think of it as a rubber band. That rubber band is her tone, and if the rubber band is loose, then that's the hypotonia. If it's really taut, that's the hypertonia. Yeah, so all in all, I guess Maya's got a lot of diagnoses. She's got over 50 different diagnoses based on just what happened to her at birth. She does have some breathing struggles. She does have craniosynostosis, which is a skull deformity. And so because of that and a few other deformities within her body, we do believe that there's a genetic component to all of this as well. And she may have been predispositioned to get that group B strep infection. We have, as of yet, been able to diagnose any genetic factors, but her geneticist does believe there's something there. It may never be found, but we believe it's there. Yeah, until such a time as Maya is able to do things on her own, we are her strongest advocates. We fight for her day in and day out. With the special needs life, there is a lot of arguing with doctors, a lot of arguing with insurance companies. Doctors want to help Maya. Insurance companies don't want to help her. There's a lot of miscommunication, and doctors and therapists and insurance companies not speaking to each other. And that is really frustrating for us. A lot of people don't realize that it is literally an every single day fight. There's always something. There's always some paperwork that needs to be done, or there's always a phone call that needs to be taken or sent out. There's always an email to be written, forms to fill out. I mean, it's just every day is a fight. And that's not even including the daily cares that go into taking care of her, the equipment that goes into taking care of her. So yeah, it's a struggle, but she is so worth it. We absolutely love her. She's back there watching Moana right now. She's got a lot of favorite things. She's got a lot of joy. She loves doing goofy jokes and whatnot. And we'll get into that in another video, but she is absolutely our pride and joy. She's our miracle. And yeah, I guess now you know a little bit of her story and why she is the way she is. She's precious. All right, guys, we love you. Peace out.